Yeah. The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what I
Welcome into the Fanatic Sports Show for sports fans by sports fans. It's your boy Coach I, and you know I got my guy the Stat Guy. What's going on, Stat Guy?
What's going on, man? We're fixing to talk a little Pac-12 action. You know, we excited about some Pac-12 after dark.
That's right, man. Hey, Pac-12, where it's at right now, baby. We're talking about the Utah Utes versus the UCLA Bruins, man. I mean, this is turning out to be a pivotal game. I mean, I had, honestly, in the offseason, I don't know if I expected a lot from the UCLA Bruins. I did expect a lot from Utah. They returned a lot of people. But Chip Kelly got that thing rolling, man. He averaging over 40 a game. So, you know, UCLA is 5-0. Utah's 4-1. Utah took the L on the chin down there in the swamp first game at Florida. So, I mean, that's what you got, man. How you feeling about this matchup? Just feelings alone, you know what I'm saying?
You know, I'm feeling good. I definitely didn't think that UCLA would be here when the season started. I think I overlooked them a little bit, but you know, Chip Kelly's been there a while, and we always have kind of asked, when's it going to click? When are we going to see offensive production week in and week out like we did at Oregon? And man, I think, you know, he's got him a fifth-year senior at quarterback with Dorian, and I think they finally got that thing rolling and finally found themselves an identity.
There it is, man. Just a little recap, man. Last week, bruh. So we had a good game for UCLA and Washington. UCLA pulled off, and then Washington kind of tried to make it a game. It was 40-32. That was a good Pac-12 win. On the other side, Utah put the hammer down on Oregon State right after Oregon State had a really tough fought-out match against the Trojans, man. So both of these teams, man, right now, of course, undefeated in Pac-12 play. They've only played a couple, but how important is this game, Jeff?
I mean, it's huge, you know, with them not doing North and South this year, with it just being the two best records get in. This is a big game because, you know, they're on opposite sides, but gotta take care of business on what's in front of you on the schedule. You know, this is a big road test for Utah. If you look ahead with their schedule, Oregon is lucky enough to get everybody at home this year, basically. And so this is a game I think Utah has to have to kind of keep things rolling and stay in line with where they want to be as far as to get to the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, and possibly have a chance at the New Year's Six Bowl. So let's go ahead and talk about the offense. UCLA's offense versus Utah, man. Like you mentioned earlier, got fifth-year senior Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And I was watching that Washington game, dog, and when I tell you just the look in his eyes, like he looked so confident. He was in like kill mode against Washington too. The dude was just straight balling. I was like, this is definitely a more mature, grown up, more comfortable in Chip Kelly's offense, Dorian Thompson, DTR as they call him. So then they got the transfer wide receiver from Duke, man, Jake Bobo out there killing people, man. I'm watching the game like, hey, none of these DBs check this dude, man. It's like if they needed to go to him, the only way they could stop him is to hope he wouldn't catch the pass. You know what I'm saying? And I think he came into that game last week actually kind of leading the Pac-12 in receiving too.
Yeah, no, and so, you know, with that offensive side, you know, DTR, man, we talk about fifth-year senior. Chip Kelly's offenses are normally a little exotic. I think they take a little bit longer for a quarterback to kind of get the hang up and get a feel, but he's in complete control of that offense. And when you got a decision maker in complete control, you're in great shape. And he takes care of the ball. You know, he's spread, he runs. He's ran for about 250 on the year, so he gets him about 50 yards on the ground each game. But 11 touchdowns and 1 pick. I mean, he takes care of the ball and he makes plays. But on that offensive side, man, you're looking at a UCLA team that's averaging 293 through the air, and they're putting up another 213 on the ground. I mean, they run. The running back there, he's a beast. You know, I think he's
Cabernet.
Cabernet, he just shot a 500. I mean, he's averaging almost $1 on the ground every game to go with DTR. So they definitely have the offensive weapons. They're putting up 41 points a game. It's what you want to see. As far as with the other side with Utah, Utah has only given up 14 points a game. Their defense is stout, and then they're only giving up 155 through the air and 123 on the ground.
They stout. They stout up front, man. I've been telling people Utah is built differently than other Pac-12 teams. I mean, they don't have the size necessarily of like a SEC team per se, but they are good in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and that helps them on that defensive side of the ball.
Oh, and the scary thing is, they're giving up 123 a game on the ground. That's including giving up 300 yards rushing to Florida in week 1. Like, what I mean, you give up almost 300 yards in one game, and then you follow that up with 43. They've had a couple right there at around 100, and then they gave up 6. Yeah, it was to an FCS school, but like, still, when that's what you're doing, like, man, that's dominating. And so their defense, they make plays, they get to the quarterback and get after it, cause turnovers. So it should be exciting.
Yeah, they got, I think, 8 or 9 sacks, and they got 7 picks. Definitely opportunistic. So you can't be out there slinging it the wrong way, because they will jump the route and try to pick that. Now, flip to the other side of the ball, man. We're talking about Utah's offense versus UCLA. Just to touch on it, I just mentioned that that Utah has 8 or 9 picks, 8 or 9 sacks and 7 picks. Listen, UCLA... They got 13 sacks, dog. They got 13 sacks and 6 picks. So this defense ain't, I know we looking at all these, 40-point scores that Chip Kelly's putting up, but on the other side of the ball, their defense is coming to play as well. They got a lot to cover this week, though. You got offense, you got Cam Rising. He's only thrown, just like DTR, he's only thrown 2 picks and 13 touchdowns. And then you got Tavian Thompson. He's back there with 4 touchdowns rushing. And you got, listen, man, my 2 favorite Utah players, and that's both the tight ends, Kuthi and Kincaid, man. That's going to be a matchup that I think people are going to have to watch in this game and every week with Utah. What the numbers looking like for Utah team-wise on offense?
So Utah's averaging 42 a game, 42 points a game. They're putting up 250 through the air and 203 on the ground. So, again, another very balanced offense, can kind of go several different ways, kind of harder to plan for. And the big thing with them, too, that we talk about is they're built in the trenches, right? Like, this isn't a typical Pac-12 team that we talk about. They get behind their big fellas and run the ball. They let their tight ends block. They throw to their tight ends a lot. And they're built more like what we traditionally think of when we talk about SEC football, that they're big and strong up front. They try to impose their will on you.
Yep. So this is going to be a good matchup, man. We're going to go ahead and get to a prediction, man. And so for me, the key to the game is whether or not UCLA defensively can slow down their tight ends. That's what Utah has the mismatch, regardless of who they're playing for the most part with that tight end room. So if they can do that, then if they can slow down Utah's tight ends, then they definitely got a shot to win. On the other side of the ball, man, is can you put some pressure on DTR? Saturday, man, he looked comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, not a care in the world. So if he's like that, that's going to be a problem. What's the spread on this game?
So the spread on this game is going to be somewhere between 3 and 4.5. It is sitting at 4.5 right now, where I get mine, but I've already seen some other places where it's down to 3. So I could expect by kickoff we're going to see it closer to 3. But as we sit right now, we're sitting at 4.5.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead. Listen, man, because of those trenches, man. Listen, I've been high on Utah. I know they lost at Florida. I felt like Florida played a good game that game. I don't feel like, Utah played a bad game or anything. They left some stuff to be desired, but I just like Utah. I like the brand of football they play. I think at the end of the day, there'd just be too much in the trenches, and that's normally where elite teams win. Elite and above average teams win close games against other good football programs, man. 4.5. Both of these teams are averaging like over either close to or over 40. I don't think it's going to be no shootout. I just don't see that. I think, I'm thinking more like a 24-17. It's gonna be definitely. I know both fan bases are gonna be like, we score 40, we score 40. I think it's gonna be like that. I think UCLA, Chip Kelly's a good X&O's guy. I think he's gonna have something to kind of slow down Utah, but at the end, I think Utah is gonna be too much. 24-14 Utah.
All right. And so with me, I think the big thing, you mentioned the tight ends, and UCLA loves to bring pressure on defense, but those tight ends and how effective they are in the passing routes, I think is going to counteract some of that. And so that definitely is going to be kind of the matchup to watch for. But, I think the other thing going for UCLA is Florida showed you how to use a dual threat quarterback to beat Utah. And I'll definitely say that DTR is the way better quarterback side. Anthony Richardson from Florida is definitely way more athletic and the better pure runner, but DTR can run himself, and he has a way better arm. So I think there's definitely something to take from that film to kind of exploit some of the same issues that Utah had with Florida. UCLA's hot right now. I think that Chip really finally has it going. Man, give me a fifth-year senior quarterback. The game's at home. It's at the Rose Bowl. I know they've lost 3 straight there to Utah, but I think this is the year. I agree it's not going to get – I don't see no, 80 or 90 point over anything like that. But I'm going to take UCLA to pull this thing out 38-27.
I actually want to keep my 10-point victory for Utah, but I do want to give them both a little bit more. I think it's going to be more like 31-21. That's what I'm thinking, 31-21. There you got it, UCLA, Utah fans, man. Get in the comments. Let us know what you think, what the keys to the game will be, what your score predictions are. The good thing is, I don't think the loser of this game is totally out of it. They're definitely behind the 8 ball, especially with USC rolling the way they're rolling and Oregon actually rolling the way they're rolling. So let us know what you think, man. For the Stat Guy, Coach I, this is Fan Addict. We out.
We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the Fan Addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?